Let's start our session. In today's session, we are going to continue our discussion related to terminologies in machine learning. So let's have a recap what we did in the last session. So just recall back. We have gone through the concept of induction. Are the properties describing the instance or an example or a sample. We have seen the example for features. We have seen another concept, that is feature space. So properties, those are describing the problem from the feature space, or in other words we may say that it is a set of all possible objects. Those can be described by features. So we have seen such kind of a feature space. So in this particular example, we are having two features, x1 and x2, and these features are having certain range for values. So these two features describe a feature space which is two-dimensional. So whatever are the objects, we may say that this feature space describes the possible objects for the problem. So in this feature space, we may fit the objects. So in other words, feature space, or it is also called as instance space, is a set of all possible objects. Those can be described by features. Next, we have seen term hypothesis. So what is hypothesis? Given the data points in a feature space, what we would like to do is we want to recognize, or we would like to predict the class. Say for example, if the problem is of classification, we would like to predict the class for unknown samples. To do that, what we have is we are having a mathematical function, and we need to come up with such a mathematical function that will help me to segregate the data. In this example, there are two classes, positive and negative. So I would like to classify the points as positive points and negative points. So whatever training data I am having, based on that training data, we should come up with a hypothesis. So hypothesis is actually a function that labels the examples. Okay. So in this particular example, we have seen that our hypothesis is linear function. So it is a line, straight line. So why this is a straight line? Because in this particular situation, we are having only a two-dimensional space. So for a two-dimensional space, if we come up with a line that is a linear function, it is sufficient for us to distinguish the objects from one another, to distinguish the examples from one another. Those are describing some class, right? So what we may say is, this is the hypothesis, that is a function that is helpful to distinguish one class from another. So by making use of this line, we may say that towards left we are having the class positive, and towards right of this hypothesis or this line we are having the class negative. So whichever are these question marks, those are the test samples. Those are the unknown samples. So based on now my hypothesis, it is possible for me to predict the class of those unknown samples. So I may say that class of this sample is positive. Class of this unknown sample is also positive. Class of this sample is negative because this sample lies towards right side of my line, my hypothesis. Class of this unknown sample is also negative. Why? Because once again, this sample, this unknown sample lies towards right hand side of my hypothesis. Right? So this is how it is possible for us to classify the data. So hypothesis is a function that is used to label the examples or to label the samples. The next concept that we discussed was the hypothesis space. So as we discussed, look at this screen, we are having this hypothesis. So one line that can be used, right, as a discriminator function. So by making use of this line, it is possible for me to classify the samples. Okay, but if I look at this feature space, I may say that that is not the only line that I may have, but instead I may come up with something else. I may come up with such kind of a line, or I may come up with such kind of a line. So if I pick any line, it might be possible for me to classify the data, right? So in machine learning terminology, we may say that we are having the hypothesis space. So what we mean by hypothesis space? It is set of legal hypothesis. I'll repeat, it is set of legal hypothesis. What we mean by that? Every line in this particular scenario, every line is one hypothesis. So if I go on collecting all such possible hypotheses, then I'll be forming one set. Right? So this set is nothing but the hypothesis space. So hypothesis space is having many hypotheses, collection of hypotheses of some kind. So here our hypothesis is a linear function, a line. So I'll be having collection of such lines. Those might be helpful for me to segregate the data, to classify the data, and that is why all such lines, if I collect together, that will form my hypothesis space. Right? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
May I proceed now?
Yes.
Fine. So till this point, actually we had a discussion in the last session. So in continuation with this hypothesis space, we are going to discuss few more concepts. So let's list out few important points related to hypothesis space. It is a function that is represented in terms of features. So obviously our hypothesis is a function, and this function is represented in terms of features. So we say that my hypothesis is h of x. So obviously x are the features. So a function that is represented in terms of features. If I want to come up with a good hypothesis, right? Then what is important is I need to decide upon the features. Those are being used to describe my object or my example, right? Say for example, if classification problem, right? Say for example, we would like to classify, say, animals. We have seen this example earlier. So what we have as objects in this example, different kinds of animals. So we may have cat, we may have dog, we may have elephant, we may have horse, and so on. So lots of animals. So what would be the possible features to describe those animals? Those I need to consider. I'll repeat. If I want to describe the object in my instance space, or if I want to describe one instance in my instance space, I need to have appropriate features to describe that instance. If I am having some irrelevant features, then these features may not help me to classify one object from another, right? So I need to decide the relevant features. So in case of classification of animals, what kinds of features we may have? Any guesses? Please speak up. Any guesses? The problem is classification of animals. So what would be the possible features?
Color.
Anybody? Yes, color, okay.
Size.
Size, right? Anything else? Yes, size, color. Anything else?
Structure.
Structure. What do you mean by that?
Shape.
Yes?
Tail.
Tail, okay. We may consider the texture of this skin, right? So
Yes.
whether the animal is furry, having the fur, or it is a plain skin, something like that, right? So these kinds of features we should have. But if we select something that is not relevant for this task of classification, then these kinds of features may not help us, right? So to come up with a hypothesis, we need to define a function, and that function is actually represented in terms of the features. And the most important thing is we need to decide what kinds of features we are making use of, right? Those appropriately describe the object or the instance. What next? We also need to define the class of the function or the language of the function. So what we mean by that? See, we may have different kinds of functions available, mathematical functions. We are talking about mathematical functions, right? We have seen right now in our example that we are having a linear function, a line, that simply help me to partition my space, and towards one side I may have one class, towards other side I may have another class, right? So this is a function, this is a class of a function. What is the class of function here? A line, a linear function, right? But not necessarily always. Such kind of a linear function will help us. Linear function will help us if the dimensionality is comparatively low for my feature space, right? Here, if I am having only two-dimensional data, then simply a line may work. But if I am having some n-dimensional dimensional data or even in two-dimensional data, if I am having some complex data set with me, then it is possible that the linear function or a line may not be suitable. So I need to, looking at the data that I am having, I need to define what kind of function would be suitable. Whether a linear function would be suitable, whether a polynomial function is required, or whether any other kind of function is required, any Boolean function is required, whatever it may be. Okay, so next important thing is we need to define the class of the function. Okay, so that is with respect to my hypothesis space. So I need to define the hypothesis space such that all the functions, all the hypotheses in my hypothesis space are of certain kind, linear, polynomial, having certain degree of polynomial, whatever it may be. Okay, fine. And next is, out of all those hypotheses now, hypothesis space is collection of hypotheses. So hypothesis space actually is representing set of functions. Okay, but what is needed is, I want to pick only one function as my hypothesis. Even though I am having many functions in my hypothesis space, I need to pick the one. So I need to find the best hypothesis that suits my given data. So I am having some data from which my machine is going to learn, right? So I need to learn a function that is most suitable for my given data, right? So what is important is, we have identified the features to describe the instances, and now we need to come up with a function, right? So I may have various functions. Those are describing my hypothesis. So I am having the set of hypotheses. I am having entire hypothesis space from which I need to find the best hypothesis that is most suitable for my given data points. Are you getting me? If you have any doubts, please let me know. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
How these data points find the best hypothesis?
That is what we are going to learn in this course, various algorithms for that. Right? This is what actually we want. How we are going to learn during this course. Various algorithms, those we are going to focus upon, are meant for selecting the best hypothesis, right? That is meant for the given data. Got it? So we are going to learn that in this course. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else? May I proceed? Yes, may I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, as I mentioned now, my hypothesis space is very huge. I am having lots of functions. Those I can use, right? Which function to select, that we are going to learn actually, right? But let me give you one example why there is a need actually to come up with such algorithms of machine learning. Let me give you one example, right? And then you will better understand, right, what we mean by hypothesis space, how many different kinds of functions are available, and how to pick the appropriate function out of that. Okay, so we are having certain representations also. So let me give you a glimpse what kinds of functions we may have or what kinds of algorithms we are going to learn, right, to choose the appropriate hypothesis. So we are going to learn regression, right? So this is a simple problem wherein we are having our hypothesis that is a linear function. If you look at this figure, what we have is we are having a single input x. So this is my x. We are having one input only, right? And on this axis, I am having y. So this is my output. So this is the horizontal axis wherein I am having input, and this is the vertical axis wherein I am having output y. So whatever you are visualizing right now, the blue dots, those are my data points. Okay, so these data points are having some values of x, right? And associated with those input values x, they are having certain output values y. These output values are the continuous values, and that is why I said that this problem is regression problem. Okay, so whatever is my input x, based on I am having some output y, right? And based on that we have plotted those points in this space, x versus y. X is my input, and for every input point I am having some value associated, that is y. Just to give you simple example, we may say that in our housing data set, we may say that we are having only one feature, that is size of house, right? So on x-axis, I am having the size of house. That is my input, only one input I am having, only one feature I am having, size of house. And based on size of house, I am predicting the price of the house. So y is my price. Got it? So what we have plotted here is our data set. So these blue points are the points in my training data set. So I have been provided with few samples, few houses. So every blue point is one house, and what I have plotted is whatever is the size of the house, and accordingly whatever is the price of that house. Just imagine. So this is how we have drawn this, or we have got this plot of points. And what we have done is we have found out this red line. Okay, and now this red line is my regression line. So I am trying to fit my data with this particular linear function. I am trying to fit my data with respect to this linear function. Okay? And if any unknown sample comes in, I have built this model with me. And now, if any unknown sample comes in, let us assume that we are having now a new sample. Okay? So let us assume that this is my new sample. So for new sample, what I know only the x value, right? So I know only the x value for the new sample. So this might be the x value. So accordingly, I have this point, some point. So what I will do is, if I know the x value for unknown sample, what I will do is, I'll refer to this function. I'll refer to actually this function of line. And what I'll do is, I'll have the corresponding y value for this x. And I'll predict that this is the price of my house, depending on whatever new x value that you have provided. Right? If I'm having unknown point here, What I'll do, I know the x value, so what I'll do, I know the x value, so I'll refer to my line, regression line, and accordingly, whatever may be my x value, accordingly I'll try to find the y value, and that would be my prediction for the price. Right? So this is a kind of regression problem. So whatever is the training data available, I am trying to fit some mathematical function, in this case a linear function. So after fitting that function, whatever is the new sample that is being presented to my system, I will refer to my function. So that function will predict the value of y. Say for example, I am having the line is represented as y equal to mx plus c. So m is the slope, right? And c is the intercept. We know that. Okay. So for this line, this red line, I am having some function mx plus c. Some value of slope I am having. Some value of intercept also I am having. So whenever new x comes in, I will be substituting that value of x here in this function y equal to mx plus c. I know the slope, I know c because I have defined this line as my model. Okay, so I'll just substitute that value of x over here and I'll be computing the value of y, and that is what my prediction is. This is so simple. Got it? So only important point is how to fit this line. So to fit this line, we are going to learn the algorithms. Got my point? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I hope you must have understood. This is just the introduction, how actually we are dealing with such data and how we are trying to predict. Okay, so this is one kind of representation. Okay, so this is a regression problem, wherein in this problem I am having my model that is linear, having such kind of a function. So once I define this line, I will be knowing m and c, and whenever I get some input data x, it is possible for me just to predict the y just by substituting the value of x in this mathematical function. That's all. Okay. So this is one kind of representation. Now we may have a decision tree. So what is the decision tree? I'm just introducing the concepts here. We are not going into the details at all. So what is a decision tree? Decision tree is typically a tree kind of a structure. At every node, it takes some decision. So those who do not belong to computer science or electronics branch, you may not know what is a tree in computer science. So basically a tree is having certain nodes, right? And these nodes are connected with one another. So this node contains some data, right? And from this node, I may go to this path or I may go to this path based on some criteria. Okay, and accordingly I'll have some data that is stored in some branch or this node. Okay, once again in decision tree, I'll be having some decision here. Based on that, I'll follow some path. Here also I may have some decision. Based on that, I'll follow some path. So in decision tree, at every node, some kind of decision is being taken, and based on that decision, one of the paths, one of the branches of the trees would be followed, and accordingly, ultimately, I'll reach to the leaf node. So whatever is at the end, this is called as a leaf node. So I'm having no further branch below this. So this node is the leaf node. Okay. So I will go on traversing this tree, and then ultimately I reach to one of the leaves. and whatever is the decision, whatever is the class that is stored in the leaf node, that would be my prediction. So if I use such kind of a decision tree, it looks something like this. So let us see this example. This decision tree is built to predict whether the person is fit. So I am having only two possible answers, whether the person is fit. Yes, he or she is fit, or no, unfit. So two possible classes here, fit and unfit. Okay, and now what are the decisions those we are having at every node in this decision tree? So this top node is actually called as the root node, root of the tree. Okay, so here the very first decision that we are having is whether age of the person is less than 30. That is one criteria that we have selected. Okay, so whether age of this person is less than 30. If yes, then I'll be following this path. If no, I will be following this path. Okay, so at the next level of the tree, I'm having one more decision. I'm having one more question here. And what that decision is, suppose age is less than 30. Okay, yes, age is less than 30 for a person. So I'll be following this path. Then I will ask whether this person eats lot of pizzas. This might be one question. This is just one example. Whether the person eats lot of pizzas, so fast food. So answer, if answer is yes, right, then I will say that the person is unfit. If the answer is no, then I may say that the person is fit. So this is how I am classifying. Okay. In this way, if age is greater than or equal to 30, age is not less than 30, so I'll be following this path. So what is there in this path? I'll be having one more node and I'll be having one decision here. What is that decision? Whether the person exercises in the morning. If yes, then the person is fit. If no, the person is unfit. Right? So this is just one example. I don't say that these are only the decision making points. This is just one example. So while solving a problem, depending on what kind of problem we are solving, we may come up with such kinds of criteria and we may build such kind of a decision tree. We are going to see how we are going to form such kind of a decision tree in our subsequent units. Right? This is just one example. So this is also one kind of representation that we may use to classify the data. Right? Am I clear? If you have any doubts, please let me know. Yes? Any doubts? Yes? Anybody has any doubt? Swati Chaugule. Are you there? Roll number 105, Swati Chaugule. So please answer my question. Have you understood this concept?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is decision tree here? What it does?
It takes a decision depending upon the condition.
Depending on the conditions. Okay. So given a problem statement, we need to come up with. So in fact, these decisions, whatever are the decisions, those we are having here, na, those are related to some features. Okay, describing my data points. Are you getting me? So age might be one of the features of the person. So the nodes actually are representing some features, and based on the values of the features, we are taking the decisions for that particular instance, for that particular observation. One of the features, and based on the value of that feature for a particular instance, we are following certain branch of the tree. That's all. Okay, so we are going to focus upon regression as well as decision tree concept in our unit number 2. We may also have the multivariate linear functions. So what we mean by that? In the earlier regression representation, we had only one x. We have only one feature, right? But in practice, in real world scenario, we are having more than one features. Those are describing my instance. In our earlier regression example, in the previous slide, we assumed that a house is being described with only one feature, and that was size of the house. And we assumed that based on size of the house, it is possible to predict the price. Okay, so we had only one feature in that example, just for the sake of simplicity, to show it using only two-dimensional plot. But now, in reality, it is not actually the case that the instance in the instance space is described with a single feature. Always, we have the examples, those are being described with more than one feature. Say for example, here I am having described every instance. If you look at this figure, all those blue dots, those are the instances in my instance space or my feature space, and every instance is being described with three features here. What are those three features? Horsepower, weight, and MPG. These are the three features describing every instance. So obviously my feature space or my instance space is three-dimensional if I am having three features. It would be n-dimensional if I am having n features, right? So if I am having many such features, then obviously it may not be possible for me to have only a line that will segregate my space depending on the class, or it may not be possible for me to fit a line, okay, for that kind of a data. So in such situations, I should come up with something like this, right? So this is a plane, not a simple line, but it is a plane, because this is not a two-dimensional space, but it is a three-dimensional space. So I'm having this as the hyperplane. I'll say that this is a hyperplane. Okay, so I will be coming up with some complex function here. So this is somewhat complex than simple linear function, line function in two-dimensional. Okay, so we may say that such kind of a problem comes under the multivariate linear regression. Okay, so I am not having a line, simple line, but I am having more than one features. Those are describing the objects. So I am having n-dimensional space, and if I am having n-dimensional space, then I will be having a hyperplane. and that hyperplane I need to fit into the data. So it is having some complex expression that is describing this plane, right? So this is one more representation that we may have. We may have single layer perceptron. So this is artificial neural network, right? So I'm just giving you some glimpses. So this is a single layer perceptron. So what we mean by that? We are having inputs here x1, x2, x3 up to xn. So these are actually the features in my feature vector. These are describing one instance. So x1, x2, x3 up to xn. So this feature vector is describing one instance. So I am having many such instances. Those are present in my training data set. So in case of perceptron, single layer perceptron, we are providing these features as the inputs to the neurons. These are called as the neurons. We are going to discuss about this in one of the units later. This is just for your information. These neurons are having some weights associated based on this feature value and the weight. Right? I'll be having some mathematical computation. I'll be having some activation function, and based on that, it is possible for me to identify the class of my input sample. So this is one more representation that we may have, right, to solve the machine learning problems. So I'm having some input in the form of a vector. I'll be having the neurons. Every neuron is having some weight associated. Based on that input and the weight, I'm computing something, right? And based on that mathematical computation, I will predict the class of whatever input that I am providing. So this is the input. So based on these mathematical computations, I'll be computing, I'll be finding out, I'll be predicting the class. Okay? So this is single layer perceptron. There are certain limitations for single layer perceptron, and that is why we are having one advanced representation of the perceptron, and we say that it is a multi-layer neural network. So instead of having only one layer of the neurons, we are having several such layers of the neurons. And based on this architecture, it is possible for us to come up with the output class. So this is one more representation. We are going to deal with that also in our course. Okay. So I hope you must have understood these concepts. If you have any kinds of doubts, please let me know. Yogita, roll number 88.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are different representation? Can you list out the representations?
Single layer perceptron, multi-layer neural network. After that, first we see that decision tree and linear function. These are some representations.
Explain me whatever you have understood about the multivariate linear function.
Multivariate linear function is used for n-dimensional space.
N-dimensional space.
Yes.
So if I am having a simple two-dimensional space, then it is possible for me to fit a line, simple line. But if my feature space is n-dimensional or multi-dimensional, then it is not possible for me to come up with a simple linear function. And that is why I need to think of a multivariate linear function or some function which incorporates multiple features, right? So this is something that we call as a hyperplane. It is not a simple linear function. We are having the multivariate linear function wherein we are considering more than one features. That is the difference. So this is somewhat complex than the simple linear regression. And in reality, we are having the data that is not described with a single feature, but always we are considering the data points. Those are represented with more than one features. And that is why we need to consider this model that deals with n number of features. Okay, I'll be posting the link for the quiz. Let's stop here. Thank you very much.